yesterday.
That sucks.
I hope that made it into the feed. I hope what I just said made it onto the live.
It did not.
Sick.
You said it right before we went live. Don't forget to go live on the gram. Good morning. It is Social Surge with Fly and Mo. I am Mo Regalado. Over there is Miss Fly Jamerson. Coming to you from Louisiana.
Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge. I'm coming from Spokane, Washington. I was gonna say I miss your face. I miss your face. I miss cuddling with you.
Yeah, we had a snuggle session.
We did.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible the level of intimacy like that you can achieve with people online. You know what I mean? Just like, you know, and it's been great. There's been just an outpouring of, everyone's doing their, which like solid props to everybody doing their recap posts. They're posting their takeaways, posting their selfies. I like it too. And they're like getting a little I'm gonna like be a little creative, and they like put together a little like template, and there's like a little logo or something. Like I thought like Kelly Miller has a couple nice ones from SIOR, right? Where it's like nice and pretty. Which tracks. It's very on brand for her. She's very nice and pretty. So, and I campaigned hard for her to get best dressed, but it's hard. That one's a hard award. So if you don't know, at CREi, they give out awards, and some of them, it's like best deal story or like most entertaining Zach, and then but best dressed is one. I'm trying to button my flannel. Best dressed is one that people step out for. And of course, it came originally from Good Morning, Jim. Good morning, Alan. It came from Delee Becker, who was not able to attend this year, unfortunately, sending you much love. We all missed you. And yeah, but people, the outfits were solid. And so Shanti Ryle from CREi won Best Dressed this year. But yeah, it's people step out. I think, did Bob win last year or the year before?
No, Bob won. I think Tanya Reagan won last year.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's right.
And I think Bob won in Orlando. No, Bob might have won in Orlando. I don't remember.
He won once.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, but everyone's posting their takeaways, and it's very cool to see the outpouring of what resonated with people. Also, a lot of people who I haven't really seen posting for the first time, right? And so when you have a community of people who are all working on the same things and who aren't necessarily in direct competition, you have a few people who do deals nationally, but like a lot, like it was exciting for me to see a lot of people who are really focused on like a niche market.
Mm-hmm.
And so that of course is one of the benefits of attending, is that you are learning with people who can be your peers and not necessarily your competitors. Although like for the folks who are competitors, Ken and I were speaking about this. Ken Ashley and I were speaking about this, and I love his mindset, his abundance mindset of iron sharpens iron, and like, hi, Haley Keene is here, and Dwayne. But it's just
Haley,
like,
I hope you saw it. I got you catching the shrimp.
Iconic. As soon as I saw that in the clip, and I was like, who was that? Who snagged that shrimp shot? And if you haven't seen, Mo did a great recap video of CREi, and in the shot is for one of the dine rounds. They were at, I think it's called a hibachi Japanese restaurant.
Yeah, I think it was called Makito or Aikido.
Yeah, but like the style of cooking is like where it's very performative,
very Benihana.
They like, yeah, that's what I mean. It's like they chop up the onion and they pour it in and they make it a little volcano. I mean, it's great, right? But do they flip all the things? Anyway, clear. I'm glad I wasn't in that one because I would have been really distracting. But yeah, Haley caught the shrimp. Nice work. Everybody has access to the same data. Honestly, everybody has access to the same data, the same tools, the same platforms, the same opportunities. And like, so when you're learning alongside a competitor, or you have the opportunity to share with someone who is your competitor. Ken was like, it comes down to the execution.
Yep.
And
you're all doing the same stuff. Honestly,
yeah.
Y'all are doing you're selling space, you're selling buildings, you're leasing, whatever. Y'all are doing the same thing. There's no secret sauce, right? There's no secret sauce. It's how you execute with the data that you have.
Yeah. So, but I say that because I have been really excited to see, again, the outpouring of people who are sharing their takeaways, and from folks who necessarily haven't posted before. Because as I mentioned on Tuesday's show, the 150 or so people who were there is a minuscule, teeny tiny little, not in like infinitesimal atom size, smaller than a brain cell, of the number of people who are in the industry who could be capitalizing on content marketing, on digital marketing, on digital tools, like everything that we talk about in the space. And so there's so much opportunity, especially if you are in a secondary or a tertiary market.
Yeah.
And I work with several people, and I'm close with several people who are in like not in a tier one sort of situation. And sorry, I'm gathering my thoughts. I think, okay, so two things. There's a lot of opportunity. Everyone is still early. And it's the perfect recipe for people to start capitalizing on that and
telling their story, right? Because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for stories, regardless of what you're selling, services, buildings, books, stories sell, right?
Stories do sell. And so, and I know that the premise of this show is that I want to go over my presentation, which I will sort of like bring out the highlights and share an anecdote to start that. But I do want to just highlight this storytelling thing. Last night on X, I don't like to do this often because I am trying to approach my work and my practice with the same generosity that has been afforded me, like by like coming into this community and learning how to do things correctly, right? Learning how to do things efficiently and effectively in alignment with my goals. And so I asked Grok yesterday publicly, and I love a public Grok chat, by the way. Public Grok chats are my favorite, especially if you're it's just for so many reasons. But I asked Grok on the topic of how many real estate agents are there in the United States, because there's all these conflicting statistics. And so I should just actually go ahead and pull it up.
Did Grok ever answer you?
So Grok took forever. I think Grok is probably working in overtime right now. I would love to learn more about that, like how that is all going behind the scenes on X. But so Grok, usually I've had instances where Grok will respond fairly immediately, but he took his time. So, but without Grok answering, other people started chiming in, and I was quite pleased with some of the commentary that people were adding with their own shared frustrations about the data, et cetera. And so Will Curtis, who Nick Fitz tagged Will Curtis, because Will where is Will? Brian Perry was like, "We're a secret society." Sorry,
thanks for joining us on the Gram, fam. Appreciate you being here. We are talking about hook, line, and sinker, but right now, Fly is trying to get us information with regard to how many commercial real estate brokers are there in the United States. We got wildly differing opinions.
Yeah. Okay. And this is why, is because and of course the delineation between commercial and residential is not, it doesn't exist inside the licensing. And so it's like we have delineation within the industry,
right,
but not within bureaucracy. And so it makes it difficult to track data in a way that would actually reflect how the industry is running, which is a frustration. But so Grok, on all these aggregate, like Gemini was a big problem, in looking at this. They were, they kept pulling a 2.9 million number,
Right.
which is like still seems sort of large for even just anybody who has a license, right? Anyway, so Will Curtis, who is the vice chair of commercial research for NAR, came back with a very nice statistic breakdown, and it's about 200K. It's about 200,000 folks. So we got some answers. We got some current data, right? But so the reason I'm bringing all this up, not just to like continue to fact check myself from Tuesday, is that JRandom brand account hijacked thread. They did a reply guy hijacking of of a comment in a thread, and it was like that's also not effective anyway because it was really buried. And being a reply guy on X, if you do it right, can lead to growth. It's a great way to get introduced into the community and to start engaging with people and be seen. However, they came at it as an advertisement. They're like, data is important. Bad data is bad. At this company, we're working to fix that. We're the future of data in the industry. Yeah, okay. And immediately I was just like, all right, bro, you came on my thread. So I don't.
Did you?
Yeah, I called him out.
Good.
Yeah, I'll show it to you. But I was just like, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work.
That's not how this works.
If you're building something, especially for these guys in the prop tech space, when you go to if you go to the default AI, we are so off topic. If you go to the default AI, response of like, help me write a campaign for my company or like XYZ or like whatever, and all these little posts, Grok Slop is gonna give you
Grok Slop, yum.
A generic advertising copy. It's not the Grok Slop is not yummy. It's not. And so I was just like, you know what? I want to believe, I used to call people out for this a little more harshly, but I want to believe that the people who are using these growth strategies, using these tools, who are really not quite hitting it, like they're grasping at straws because they don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to share.
Well, they should be watching us then. Jesus. Well, they should just be watching us.
That's what I said. I was just like, I don't
think
this strategy. Well, I didn't say come watch Social Surge, but I'll send him a message. I said, I don't think this strategy isn't going to work for you.
No, you do not.
Building something, start talking about the reason that you started building it. And then it was a bot response that came back with it. It was interesting, but it was the response, like, because I thought I was just going to get blocked. He was like, yeah, I've been, and it was a bot response. So it was sort of like interesting, but it was like, thanks for the feedback. I have a lot of stories about how bad data has burned my deals. And I was just like, that is exactly what you should be sharing about. Not this like futuristic Elon Musk, like the candor of Elon, or Steve Jobs, or like all like tech leaders. Like I'm just like, people are trying so hard to say the right thing
but they're not saying anything
pulling from all these influences, and it's just like, that's not it. It's not it. And so anyway, so I'm sorry that we've spent the first 15 minutes talking about what I said on Twitter, but the point.
No, but that's the whole thing, though, is that's all part of the conversation. And when you have accounts, I highly do not recommend you ever schlep your wares on somebody's comment thread or in somebody's comment. It is a major turnoff for me. It shows me that you have no idea how to build community, and you listen to some guru somewhere who was like, oh yeah, this is fine. No, it's not fine. Don't do that. That is not meaningful engagement. That you, in your mind, it's, yeah, I'm engaging. No, you're trying to sell something without actually providing anything of value. If I ever see you in the wild, I'm going to be like, hell no, I'm not going to engage with you. You irritate me online. Like, I will walk the other way. I don't want to. What? I'm being honest. Like, if you can't.
No, I'm just having a genuine reaction to what you said.
Can't have, if you're going to be not freaking follow directions, simple directions of don't schlep your wares in my comment section.
Well, and it's just, I can't. I'm always going to go back to what Shlomo told me at the X Gala, which is that I'm too nice, and it's not doing anybody any favors, including me. You know what I mean? And so, but I just, it's hard because I see, as much as I want to just like boop, mute, block, go away. You know what I mean? I feel like I do see, because I also see people that I know approaching things with the same kind of strategy. And I'm just like, baby, why are you doing that? Just like, this is not representative of who you are as a person and the way that you, but it's this thing right here, this thing that we're in, this thing, right? It freaks people out. And
we're in a magic box.
Okay, but I do. So I'm watching them myself on the delay on Instagram, and it's not.
So hook, line, and sinker, CRE Content That Captivates. You and Greg Fogg did this presentation at CREi Summit in one of the breakout sessions. I'm actually really excited to see or to listen to you on what you think is CRE Content That Captivates. We always talk about stopping the scroll. We talk about interest media, which is something that Gary Vaynerchuk is now talking, that's his whole thing. It's no longer social media. It's interest media based on the TikTokification of all of the platforms, right? We've talked about this before, about how your For You page is a direct reflection. It is a mirror of everything that you connect with, that you engage with, that you watch. So if your feed sucks, well, it's because you are not doing what you need to do to create a good feed experience. I actually happen to like all of my feeds right now on all of my social channels, except for TikTok, because TikTok I have not been on. Like, I personally have not been on TikTok on my account in a while because I get sucked in and I just doom scroll, right? Like, so I actively...
the doom scrolling lately has been
so I stay away from it because I will sit for half an hour just consuming stupid content that has nothing to do with what I need to be doing. Like, if it was valuable content, maybe teaching me about AI or social media, but no, like, I'm getting sucked into people's personal stories and like hairdressers that had bad clients, and like, it's bad. But
I heard this. I saw, or maybe somebody sent it to me, a great piece of advice is just like, remember where your feet are. Like, when you're stuck, if you're stuck in here, just like, wow, I almost picked up my foot to show you my foot is it. Like, there's something really wrong with me. No, it's very easy. It's if you do not log in with the right intention, you will very easily, like, your feet will not be on the ground. And actually, okay, now that I've spent the first 20 minutes of the show not talking about my presentation, I do actually, so I don't want to say that we did a bait and switch. I don't want to say that. However, I think I have maybe not the take that people were expecting based on the title, and here's why. We talk about the hook. We talk about stopping the scroll. There are conventions and styles when you're creating social media that are designed and engineered to keep people consuming and keep them reading and keep them engaged. But for me, the core of what we were speaking about is focusing on who you're actually trying to capture. And so I'll probably have to post it sometime. I made all these, like, they look like corporate, like, line drawing illustrations of like the kind of like normal generic things that you would see. But it's all like dudes fishing for like little LinkedIn like little LinkedIn things. But so it, like, for me, if you're gonna start to engineer things to try to capture people's attention, you need to understand the audience that you're trying to capture. And so what was, when I start a conversation with somebody about their social media, the first question for me is really like, why are you here? What are you trying to do? What is it?
He's in downtown Manhattan. A guy just walked past him eating a bowl of cereal.
You want to know what? Good for him. He's getting his breakfast in and he's on his way.
Has nothing to do with anything but WTF. Yes.
You know, I love it. Like, I saw a guy. Wait, hold on. I saw a guy in Manhattan walking with a bowl of cereal. Here's what it taught me about versus real estate.
Yep. That's the post for the day. That's the post for the day.
God, I'm just gonna.
Here's what it taught me about business.
I mean, you want to know what? Actually, can you tell I don't want to go through my presentation, even though it was my idea?
Just a little bit.
I'm sorry. It's been. My feet are not on the ground. Let's just say that. So if you're logging it, if when I start the conversation with people about why are you want to do this, and I'm sure that you get this all the time. If you want to start posting and like immediately be famous, or if you want to start posting and immediately have customers requesting your services, or if you want to like start posting and not really have to think about it, this isn't going to work. And when people are like, when people are talking about like, obviously, yes, like the whole point of this is so that eventually we can transact.
Right.
Obviously the point of this is to get a machine working for you so that you can have inbound, so that you can have an established reputation, so that people understand who you are, what you do, who you serve, and how you serve them, and what kind of results that you can get for them before you even have the conversation. We talked about on Tuesday how that's a very long burn to get to that, at least 3 to 6 months.
Yep.
If not 3 to 4 years, as was cited as
Aviva talked about,
right? But it's the people who come into this space with a desire to be famous that I'm like, why? Because
it's and we can get into the psychology of that, but that I think has more to do with ego than with anything. It has to do, and we deal with a lot of big egos in this industry. Let's be real here. And so when your social presence doesn't do what you want it to do, you have to be introspective and look at what kind of value that you're delivering to the audience. And are you just shouting me, 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 me? I happen to see this issue with a local social media person. Unfortunately, I'm going to say it, but bless her heart, she's posting, and you don't understand how much what the heck has to tell me not to comment on her post, because I actually just want to get in there and be like, give her like a little hug and go, this isn't it. This isn't how you get people to like, know, and trust you. And I don't like, we're not in the same, I don't care about, she's going after small business. That's fine. But every single post that she posts in these groups that I'm also a part of, it's all about her and what she can do. It is never about the customer. It is never about the hero. It is always about her as the guide. So she's making the focal point of her story about her. And I just want to get in there and go, no, sweetheart, tell them how. Tell them, that you understand the struggle, right? But the story is not about you. Every single post is about her. Here's what I can do for you. No, that's not how it works. So now, again, that goes along with creating content on any other platform. Who is the story about? Is it about you? Or is it about your client? Is it about your prospect? Is it about your customer? How are you helping them versus what they can do for you?
Yeah. And on the other side of that is like, you do need to share your perspective. You need to share your thoughts. But if the entire balance is me, 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 me.
If it's self-serving, right? Like, you're going to tune people out. And I think that goes along with when you're looking at content creation and creating content that captivates an audience. How are you actually treating that audience? Are you treating them like an infomercial?
Yeah.
If
So again, capturing the specific audience. And so for me, where to start is always like, if you are going out, like if you're going fishing, let's put it this way. If you were hunting bears, you wouldn't bring a fishing rod, right? So it's like understanding the tools, understanding what you're actually trying to do, who you're actually trying to capture the attention of, and then where are they? Where do they go? What do they respond to? I don't think I like the idea of engagement bait, like the idea of baiting. I know, like we're like, and that phrase is, used for very specific styles. But I don't think that it is. So people are sort of like, oh, I don't want to like try to attract people in like a way. No, you need to understand what people respond to be effective, and then understanding, okay, then how do I use the tools in front of me to capture the attention of the right people, and what do you want them to do? And so we had this whole we had this whole discussion about like how, defining who your audience is, who, like what their pain points are, and like building them into your value prop. And Landon Williams actually was in our session, which I was so thankful for. And I was like, I saw him the night before and I was like, why aren't you a speaker? Why? Because what he's accomplished with his presence is like a perfect, in many ways, case study of like how to use social media to grow your business. But like he shared his value prop in terms of like who his audience is, how he serves them, the kind of results that he can get for them, and all of it. It was just like, and it was so incredibly focused.
Yep.
And I was so thankful for him that he shared that, so that people could see it's, again, casting the widest net with top of funnel content is, I think, a very important part of a strategy. But if you're only ever casting out content that speaks to everybody or is attractive to everybody, like every time somebody gets in my DMs and be like, I'm sad about my cat post got so many more likes than my post about like mortgage brokering. And I'm like, duh, cats are way more better in every single way. And like a cat jumping because they turned around and saw a cucumber, like, is so much more interesting and funny than like understanding how mortgage brokerage works. Like, it just is. However, like if you only ever post the thing that appeals to the most people, it's going to be harder to pull people deeper into your funnel. It's going to be harder to pull people deeper into your circle of trust. And so you need to have razor sharp clarity about who you serve, why you serve them, what problems you solve for them, and who they actually are and where they are and how they're transacting. Because you will bag more bucks from that. And we're like totally out of time and I didn't even start. So this is great material to continue talking about on next week. Because
here's if people want to get a hold of you and ask you, a portion of, do you have slides or anything to share with them? Is there anything that you can share? Yeah. So just contact Fly about, how to create really that perfect target audience and how to capture their attention. I think when you're looking at, again, it's a Gary Vaynerchuk thing, but it's the 80-20 rule, right? Like you provide 80% value, you talk about different things, and then the 20% is the ask. And you make sure that when you're providing that value, the value is geared toward the client, the customer, the prospect. Going back to the story I'm talking about, the girl locally who posts about herself all the time trying to get business, it's not going to get business, right? She is She is talking about what she does, but it's always a me, 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 me. That's a turnoff. That I want to know. I want to know about me. What's in it for me, right? That's what the customer's thinking. So when it comes down to it, when you're creating that content, and if you are just getting started out, if you're just joining us, and trying to figure out this whole content machine, the first question you need to ask yourself is, who is my target audience? It's one of the questions that I talk to clients about. Who is your avatar? Who are we speaking to? What is their experience? What do they look like? If you don't know what your avatar is and you tell me, well, it's everybody. No, it's not. You need to define what that target audience is. And you can have multiple target audiences, right? And that's fine. So then how do we create that content that's going to attract those eyeballs? And a lot of it is personality. A lot of it is talking about, your stories. But if you don't have a definition of who you want to speak to, if you ask Fly and I who our target audience is, guess what? It's everybody who's watching this right now, right? We know who our target audience is. We know what industry we work in. If you are trying to cast that wide net with no idea of who you're bringing in, you could be bringing in bad leads that aren't going to help you at all, right? You could bring in stinky fish with that net, right? Like if that's the case. So on Tuesday, I'm gonna whip her into shape.
Yeah, and I have prompts, I have exercises, like I have all this stuff, and you want to know what? Like, I'm not on it today, y'all.
She was, though. She was. She emailed me yesterday, I promise you, and she was like, "I got it. I got tomorrow. It's all done." And I was like, "Sweet, let's go." So on Tuesday, we will actually go over this, and I'll also talk about what Dr. Dre and I talked about. So we'll probably do half and half about Google business page. And we had a really great session at CREi Summit talking about that. Lots of great questions, and some, like George Otell, doing amazing stuff.
I love George.
Right? George
is such great energy. Like, again, everybody in the room. Just.
Yes. So we'll talk on Tuesday about captivating CRE content that captivates, as well as Google Professional page and what you need to do to set that up. We will see you back here. Don't forget, we have our school group, Social Mastery VIP, where we talk about the whole marketing ecosystem. We would love to have you join us there. The link is right down below. And if you need it, you can always send me a DM. All right. We'll see you back here on Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel.